She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old.
Just go away. Oh, literally obsessed with me.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Crystal Tinaba, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Drake. Drake is trending on Twitter alongside Rihanna, Esperanza Spalding. Riri is trending as well on Twitter, and literally everybody's lashing Drake. Drake is getting his lashings right now, and I'm here for it because unprovoked he's coming for these women. Yeah, for no reason at all. And so basically what's happened is that like Drake has released his newest album called For All the Dogs. I think it was released on Friday. I haven't heard it. Like the way, like when I think of like Drake, there's some artists for me that I really love and cherish, that like even whenever they haven't release anything, I'm like checking up on them, like what are they doing, like are they releasing something, like, you know, if they come out and they're like, oh, I'm releasing like an album, I've noted it in my calendar. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for this, like almost like also like Nicki Minaj, honorable mention, like I cannot wait for Pink Friday 2 to come out. So like that is literally, I'm anticipating that, like Nicki, and there's so many, not so many, but like a couple of artists that like I treat like that, where it's like, oh, it's like if they're coming out with an album, I'm tuned in, I'm ready for it, like you let me know, I'm waiting for you to drop, sort of thing. But like with Drake is like how I view like the other art, like other people, like how I treat other artists, where it's like if I hear a song from you that's good, then you know I'll like it, I'll rock with it. But apart from that, if you announce that you're dropping music, I'm not running to go check out your music. I think like the last song that I liked from Drake was his song with Lil Durk. Yeah, that was like, and I think how I found out about the song, I think it was like I heard it on TikTok or something, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's how I heard about it. But like, yeah, I don't actively look for Drake. So anyway, so basically how I heard about his album is like basically like the barbs on Twitter have been keeping me updated on like this whole situation. So like obviously I think it was came out that apparently he was going to be collaborating with Nicki, and like Nicki was going to be featured on a song on his album. So obviously the barbs were like, oh look, Nicki and Drake. And also like Nicki and Drake have made good music together. Like obviously Moment for Life was really good. Like his verse, even though obviously Nicki was obviously supreme on Seeing Green, he was featured on Seeing Green. I think also like they were both on Best I Ever Had or something like that. Yeah, so like they've made like good music together. I can't fault that, I can't lie about that. So obviously people were, especially like the barbs, were really intrigued to like see what it is that, like, you know, what's gonna happen with the song, sort of thing. And then like, so the album gets dropped now, and then like no Nicki feature, there's no song that like has Nicki's name on it. So obviously the barbs were dragging him all over Twitter. I went on YouTube, people were making the barbs were making videos dragging him, and they were basically saying that like he used them, just not even like, I think that, yeah, used like Nicki's, how like, because obviously the barbs don't play about Nicki, so he used that, like how they love her so much, to like keep her, because obviously that's the only way that I was keeping in tune with this album, was because the barbs were literally tweeting like every day, like, or like Nicki's album with Drake, Nicki's got a song with Drake coming up, like when is it gonna drop, sort of thing. So obviously that's where the first lashing came from, was that the barbs, they were posting like AI images of him like crying because they were like dragging him and everything like that, literally. So that's where the first lashing came from. And then the second lashing comes from the Rihanna Navy. Like, so basically on one of his songs, people think that he was referencing Rihanna. So this is what he says on the song. He says, AA, look, why they make it seem like I'm still hung up on you. That statement about like him being hung, because I think I remember when it was announced that Rihanna Rihanna was pregnant with her first child by A$AP Rocky, and I think there was a video of Drake like at some sort of basketball game or something, and I think someone tried spinning it like, oh, this was when Drake first found out that Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. So I think like someone just randomly videoed him, and I think he was like checking his phone or something, and I think he didn't really react or anything, but like they tried to spin it as like, oh, look at Drake first reacting to like the Rihanna news and stuff like that. And I remember like even seeing on like Twitter and so many other like social media platforms that like, oh, Drake must be in tears right now because like, you know, this about Rihanna. But like at the same time as well too, like he has like literally, remember like that interview that came out of him talking about like his son, and he was saying that like when he had to tell his mom that he was pregnant by like his baby mama, who's like a porn star, he was obviously embarrassed, and like what he wanted was like he wanted to say that like, oh, like I'm expecting a baby with Rihanna, like how that would have been,
You know, where I don't have the fairy tale like, oh, Drake started a family with Rihanna and like this is like so perfect. Or like, you know, Drake, yeah, it's like it looks so good on paper.
I
and,
wanted
like,
that too.
Well, I mean,
and
of
I
course.
didn't get it too.
By the way, I wanted that too at one time. You know?
He got it. When I had a kid, that was one of the things I did too.
By the way, I wanted that too at one time. By the way, I wanted that too at one time. You know?
I refuse to accept this statement where he's saying, oh, why are they making it seem like I'm hung up on you? Well, you've been talking about Rihanna, like, for no, like, so why, I don't know why he's making it seem like, you know, why, I think like he's trying to blame like the fans and the public, saying that like, he's still, like, people are still connecting him to Rihanna, when obviously he's also used Rihanna's name by talking about her in an interview and saying that like, oh, how momentous it would have been if he was expecting a baby with Rihanna, or how like, you know, that's what he wanted for himself instead of like what actually did happen, which was him having a baby by a porn star sort of thing. So then he says that could never be me, girl can't ruin me. And people say that like obviously because Rihanna refers to herself as bad girl Riri, so people like were using that as a correlation to say that like he was speaking about Rihanna. He said better him than me, better it's not me. Once again, people were thinking that this is referring to A$AP Rocky, and obviously Rihanna and A$AP Rocky are now like, I mean, in a happy relationship from what we see, and they're like, they've got like now 2 kids together. He then says, I'm anti, and Rihanna's album was called Anti. And he says, yeah, and the sex was average with you, which is the one that like sort of rung alarm bells, was because Rihanna has a song that says sex with me is so amazing, and so for him to say that the sex is so average, people were obviously dragging him, saying that, well, the sex couldn't have been that average because you're still talking about Rihanna in 2023, while when she's been gone down, she has 2 kids, she has like multiple businesses now, like you're still strung up on Rihanna, and then you have the nerve to say why they make it seem like I'm hung up on you when it's actually you that's hung up on Rihanna. We move on. So obviously he says, yeah, I'm anti because I had it with you. Okay, I'm anti like your daddy's sister, anti like a family picture. And somebody actually brought, I think I was seeing on Twitter where someone took picture. I think he went to Rihanna's hometown or something in Barbados, and he took a picture of like where Rihanna used to live, and I think he took a picture with like her brothers and stuff like that. And yeah, so people were obviously saying that like, Jake, you're the one that's obsessed, because why would you go to Rihanna's childhood home and be doing a Vogue photo shoot there? And also he said, and I had way better bitches than you, to be honest. Why hasn't he married those typical better bitches? Or why isn't he, if he's like has better bitches, then why isn't he happily with them? Or like, why is he still talking about Rihanna if so-called have better bitches? And he says, yeah, that man, he's still with you, he can't leave you, you'll go on vacation, I bet it's Antilles, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's somebody said on Twitter that like Antilles or Antilles, I'm probably butchering this name, I know I am. They said it's an area in Barbados, like Barbados is part of the Antilles or something like that. I'll look into it and I'll like clarify if I'm wrong or anything like that. But yeah, like somebody was saying said that it had something to do with the fact that like Rihanna's Barbados, Bayesian ancestry and stuff like that. So yeah, so obviously him saying that the Rihanna Navy, and you know what, yeah, from what I know, I actually like the Rihanna Navy because they don't bother anybody. Like they are waiting for Rihanna to whether drop a picture, you know, cause she always has like the nicest fits, and like either drop a picture, drop some new makeup, and anything business venture, or at least drop some music or like anything. Like they just patiently sit down and wait for Rihanna to do her. They don't bother anybody. And so for him to just come in and, you know, just drag Rihanna, or like just like they obviously once again came out lashed him along the Babs lashed him. Rihanna nearly gave him his lashes as well. And somebody actually posted his speech when I think Rihanna won the Vanguard, the Michael Jackson Vanguard award at the VMAs, and I remember this speech when he came out and was basically like doing this whole cringy speech saying that like he's been in love with Rihanna since he was 22 years old.
She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old.
And I think he tried going in for a kiss and she like swerved him something, and even then like Rihanna was on stage like looking really awkward and was like so somebody captioned it like, oh, if I was Rihanna I would have posted this and just like logged off like my social media. And I think like obviously back, remember when like Rihanna was like 2010 2012 Rihanna, that was literally reckless and was arguing with any and everybody on Twitter. Like the most iconic like back and forth was when I think she was beefing with Ciara, and Ciara was like, oh Rihanna, you don't want to see me like on the stage, on or off the stage sort of thing. And Rihanna was like, good luck booking those stages you speak of. And that was like one of those like Rihanna was unhinged at that moment. That's like, I loved Rihanna because I'm probably like, if you came for her she'd come back for you as well. I remember when I think she was beefing with Tiana Taylor and she put like how much her net worth against Tiana's net worth, and she made that like her Twitter banner. Like that was like Rihanna at her peak. But I think like now Rihanna is like what we know, like, or what the people know of Rihanna, which is like she's a billionaire, she's like a mom of two, she's like, you know, simmered down, and you know, she's like a business queen, business mogul. So that's what like the Rihanna now. But obviously that Rihanna in 2010, like she wouldn't have been okay with Drake saying stuff like this. So people were thinking that like, no, Rihanna should come out like out of the blue and just like respond to this, but I don't think she would, like definitely not. Like I don't think she needs to like stoop to his level. Like if this is what he needs to get the name, because people were saying that the album was mid, so obviously if that's what he needs to, you know, get people talking about the album and going to view, because obviously as well to like that's typical Drake. Like whenever he drops something, it's never unproblematic. It's never like, oh, I just put this here. Like it's always filled with some sort of drama. He's always saying something unhinged to somebody about somebody. So obviously as well, so Megan Thee Stallion fans came in, added on top of the lashings as well, and they basically dragged him because like, I mean, they already dragged him in the past, but I think he put in a song as well that like that bitch lied about getting shot, but she's still a stallion. And now people were referring to obviously Tory Lanez shooting Megan Thee Stallion, and obviously I think Tory Lanez is from Canada. I was about to say Canada. Ooh, no, Canada. So obviously people were saying that like Drake was supporting Tory, and obviously I think Megan even responded and said that, oh, like was angry and said like, you guys are lame, and like, you know, I don't know, but she basically, I think she tweeted and responded to what Drake was saying. Yeah, so that is literally like partly, so I think that like came up again, like from what Drake was saying, that like resurfaced again. And also I saw an account by the name of Rai on Twitter who basically also accused Drake of using her vocals without crediting her. I think like also as I read the thread, people were saying that like, why don't you just like sue him and like, you know, look at it legally? But I think she just said that like all she wanted to do was being credited, and I think she said that like she also accused him of doing it again the second time. So people were saying that like, well, if that's happened again, like why didn't you take more precautions? Like why we allowed it to happen again, sort of thing. Like why is this the second time that Drake has done this to you? So yeah, like so that was like a third lashing, or not a third, a fourth lashing among what he was getting. So that was, but I mean like obviously the Rihanna dragging was more like higher than what everybody else was talking about. And then his his fifth lashing.
Make a circle, make a circle.
Get him up, let him get up.
Came from him talking about Esperanza Spalding. So in a song he said, 4 Grammy nominations to my name, 100 nominations. Esperanza Spalding was getting all the praises, and apparently to people that this happened like 12 years ago. So once again, Drake still delving into this, which once again goes back to when he said they make it seem like I'm still hung up on you. So he's like trying to make it seem like, oh well, people are dragging our relationship. But once again, this whole Esperanza Spalding beating you for a Grammy happened 12 years ago. But once again, you're hung up on this. Take your own advice, Drake. So he said like Esperanza Spalding getting all the praises. I'm trying to keep it humble. I'm trying to keep it gracious. Who gives a F? Michelle Obama put you on her playlist. Then we would never hear from you again, like you was taken. So basically like rubbing it in her face that you got this, you beat me for this Grammy, but now nobody knows about you. And yeah, you got this one thing of fame because Michelle Obama like put you on her playlist or said that like I listened to you or something, but where are you now, sort of thing. And obviously I think that's where like I sort of like laugh about this, because sometimes like when Nicki Minaj speaks about Grammys about like I think when she lost Grammy to Bon Iver, people were calling her bitter, people were calling her saying that, oh, like get over it, like especially like when Nicki speaks about like, you know, how the Grammys do her, they like she's getting called bitter, but here it is Drake still bitter 12 years on that he didn't get this Grammy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, like, oh, he has a right. It was like his fans were trying to defend him and stuff like that, but I was like, oh, I find it funny how like obviously when Nicki or even like other artists like try and speak out and say like, oh, like I was done wrong by the Grammys, or I feel like I should have earned a Grammy for this, then all of a sudden they're bitter and they should go sit down somewhere. But when Drake does it, oh, let's all sit down and cry tears for him because 12 years ago he lost the Grammy to Esperanza Spalding. But yeah, so he said he further on goes to say who the CEO of Universal they're mistaken, because Google's saying Lucian, but that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense. Who filling up the piggy bank? Who bringing home the bacon? This shit don't come on vinyl. I'm still record breaking. So obviously he's bigging up himself, which I don't mind him doing, saying that like he obviously is, you know, an artist that brings in the bacon, brings in like the money and the streams and stuff like that. So obviously people were defending Esperanza, so they lashed Drake on top of that as well, and they said that like obviously one thing I was seeing is that people were comparing her music quality. So people were saying that like, yeah, like obviously Esperanza isn't as big as you at the moment, but her music is still better quality than yours is, like, so I don't know what it is. So like obviously people were dragging Drake left, right and center. I also think that like I think also like Doja Cat is actually, like, side note, she's also like trending on Twitter as well, because I think she was accused of wearing a t-shirt, well, not accused, she posted a picture of her wearing a t-shirt with like somebody who was like a very controversial person who was an Nazi, or who's like a pro Nazi, I'm not gonna say the name. And obviously she, like, people were dragging her, and obviously I remember like people on Twitter were putting Drake and Doja together, saying that like, look at the biracials acting up, which is a good key. But once again, like Doja Cat deserved to be dragged, but like not dragged with Drake. I feel like her dragging should have stayed somewhere else. But yeah, that's also another trending topic as well, is that Doja Cat is being dragged as well for one edition. I think she deleted the picture and then reposted the picture again, but like cropped the top. And then obviously people were saying that like, why is Doja still relevant? Why do people keep giving her second chance? Because obviously it's funny because people keep coming out now saying that like, oh, we should now cancel Doja Cat. But people were like, oh, after all this that she's done, why didn't you cancel her then? Why now? So yeah, but that was off topic. To go back to the Drake situation, people were, once again, like a tweet that I saw, which was like, chef's kiss, was obviously also asking like, why is it that Drake finds it so comfortable like dragging women, especially black women, in this matter, and the fact that with Drake, you know, we saw this whole beef with Pusha T, and somebody was saying that like the last time somebody said, oh, I get why Drake is comfortable dissing women, especially black women, because they're not gonna answer, they're not gonna respond back to him, but whereas like the last time he beefed with a guy, which is Pusha T, he ended up having to take care of his son, like, and stop being a deadbeat, and like a blackface photo got taken. So I think it's like funny how Drake isn't comfortable responding back to a lot of these male rappers who have like dissed him or have come for him, especially like Soulja Boy that I'd accuse him of like copying him and stuff like that.
Drake? Drake? The nigga that got bodied by Pusha T? The nigga that hiding his kid from the world, but his world wouldn't hide from the kid? Aubrey Graham in a wheelchair. Drake.
Yes.
Y'all niggas better stop playing with me in here. Stop telling me like I ain't teach Drake everything he knows. He copied my whole fucking flow. Word for word, bar for bar.
They was fun. Pusha T, that was a mess. But like obviously now for some reason he finds it comfortable like coming after all these women. So and also I think that also has something to do with like once again his biracialness and like feeling very like him feeling lower than and like lesser than obviously these fully black men, because obviously like as a light-skinned man or biracial man he's like deemed as being soft or whatever. So that's why he can always like come for the women, because that's where he feels strong and powerful. Yeah, so that's everything in this video. Let me know your thoughts in regards to this whole Rihanna situation. Do you feel like do you feel like Drake is talking about the answer will be no. The answer will be no, but how do you feel about this whole Rihanna situation and like obviously like Drake constantly coming for women unprovoked? And please like and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.